Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So, here in this SAP SSC interview prep series, today's topic is cross model calculations in SAP SSC. So, basically, before starting, I want you to keep your pen and notebook handy with you so that you can note down all the important pointers and understand this concept very well. So, I know you must be aware about what is SAP SSC, but just setting up a quick context here, SAP SSC Analytics Cloud is basically a unified cloud platform from SAP that combines business intelligence, planning, and predictive analytics. Within SSC, you work with two primary models: analytic model used for reporting and BI, and planning model used for budgeting and forecasting. A story in SSE is the workspace. Think of it like a dashboard or report where you connect multiple models and build your calculations. Cross model calculations become essential when your data is spread across more than one model, but you need to combine them for insights or planning. Now, what exactly are the cross model calculations? So, simply putting it here, it's like they allow you to write a formula that references data from more than one model in SSC, guys. For example, imagine you have your actual financial data in one model and your budget data in a separate planning model. Now, to calculate the variance, that is actual minus budget, you need to pull the data from both the models simultaneously. Now, cross-model calculations make this completely possible. They are the most commonly used in calculated measures at the story level and in some planning scenarios as well. A good analog is to think of it like a VLOOKUP across two tables, but instead of Excel tables, you're working with SSC data models, and the engine handles the join logic for you. Now, where can we apply these cross-model calculations? So, it's like in several areas within SSE we can do it. The most common use case is in story level calculated measures, where you are building a widget like a chart or table and you want to bring in data from two different models into one formula. Another major use case is variance analysis. So, for example, subtracting budget from actuals where each lives in a different model. You will also see cross-model logic in KPI tiles and planning input forms, where a planner might need to reference data or driver values is stored in a separate model. So understanding where and when to apply this is a key part of any SSC developer or any analytics role. Now, let's talk about how cross-model calculations actually work. First, both models needs to be added to the same SSE story. Then, this is critical. The models must share at least one common dimension, guys. This could be any date dimension, a company code, a cost center, or any dimension that exists in both models. Once this is done, SSE uses this shared dimension to align or join the data when your formula runs. Third, you create a calculated measure at the story level, not inside the model. And this is a very common misconception. You cannot define the cross model formula inside a model. It must be at the story level. The syntax is very straightforward. You reference the measure as model name dot measure name. SSE then evaluates this dynamically based on the current filter context in your story. So this is how you can use cross-model calculation. Well, let me walk you through the most common interview questions on this topic. The first could be like, what are the prerequisites for cross-model calculation? Your answer should be clearly state both models must exist in the same story and they must share a common dimension for the data to align correctly. The second could be the trap. Like, can you define cross-model calculations inside a model? No, guys. This is a story level feature only. Then third could be which model types are supported. So here both analytics and planning models work. But note this point that live connection models may have limitations. And finally, what happens when models don't share a common dimension? Simple, there could be data misalignment. You may get nulls or incorrect results, which can be critical bug in production reports. So every powerful feature has its limitations, and knowing them is what separates a good candidate from a good one. First, cross-model calculations are not supported in any widget type in SAC. It's like certain chart types may not render them correctly. Second, there are performance costs because SAC essentially runs two queries, one per model, and then join them in memory. So, for large data sets, this can be slow. Third, live connection models. Those connected directly to SAP BW or HANA have reduced support for cross-model scenarios. So you will want to use import models in those cases. And on the best practice side, always make sure you share dimension name match exactly across both models. Even a case difference can break the alignment, okay? And always document your model dependencies clearly so that future developers understand the cross-model relationships in the story. Well, wrapping up here because this concept is not too much broad, but you should have an idea about it. That's why the video is too short. So cross-model calculations in SAP SSE gives you the power to combine the data from multiple models inside a single formula, enabling powerful variance analysis, blended KPIs, and consolidated reports. Remember, this feature works at the story level only and not inside the model. The shared common dimension is the glue that holds the data together. Without it, your calculations won't align. And the syntax should be simple model name dot measure name. So be aware of the performance implications and live connection limitations and always test thoroughly before going to production. What is my top advice? Open SSC, create two simple models with a common date dimension, and try building a cross model calculation measure yourself. Because hands on is the fastest way to master this for your interview. So, good luck, guys. So, this is a quick reference chart for you to give you everything you need to record a solid, structured interview prep video. Now, um, just go through the concept. Try to understand the concept and all the practical and real-time scenarios I'm going to cover later in my other videos. This is just a conceptual video explaining what is cross-model calculations and what are its limitations and when and why to use it. Also, my SSE ebooks and other modules interview ebooks are available on my LinkedIn profile, as well as you can book a career discussion session with me, as well as mock interview or interview prep series with me. So everything is available on my LinkedIn profile.